No, let me go! Please, somebody help!
It began on a day that felt deceptively ordinary, where the sunlight filtered through the canopy of a quiet, untouched forest. A hiker, driven by curiosity and the beauty of the natural world, trekked through the undergrowth, unaware that he carried the seeds of a catastrophe in his backpack. It was a simple accident, a slip, a fumble, that sent a glass vial tumbling to the earth. The contents were not of this world, a glowing neon green serum that hissed as it soaked into the soil. Fate, however, is cruel. A common bullfrog, small and insignificant in the grand scheme of the jungle, hopped toward the spill. Thirsty and unsuspecting, it drank the chemical mixture. The reaction was instantaneous and horrifying. The laws of biology were rewritten in seconds as the creature's eyes burned a demonic red. Its skin bubbled and hardened, and its body began to expand with a sickening crack of bone and muscle. The silence of the forest was shattered not by a croak, but by a roar that shook the earth. The mutation was absolute. What was once prey had become the ultimate predator, a towering behemoth of warty green flesh that stood higher than the ancient trees. The forest ecosystem collapsed in panic. High in the canopy, a troop of monkeys screeched in terror, scattering as the massive toads stomped through the vegetation, snapping trees like toothpicks. Its hunger was insatiable, its long, sticky tongue snatching victims from the air with terrifying speed. Even the apex predators of the sky, the eagles, found themselves powerless against this new monstrosity, forced to flee or be consumed. But deep in the shadows of the jungle, something else was watching. A massive silverback gorilla, the true guardian of these woods, witnessed the carnage. He descended to the forest floor, finding the remains of his kin, and in his eyes there wasn't fear. There was a burning, intelligent rage. He knew that this green abomination was a threat that would not stop at the edge of the trees. Driven by an endless, chemically induced hunger, the giant toad migrated out of the wilderness and descended upon civilization. The transition was abrupt and violent. The ground trembled beneath the city as the monster leaped from the tree line, landing amidst the steel and glass of the metropolis. Panic swept through the streets like a tidal wave. Skyscrapers crumbled under the weight of the beast, showering the streets below with glass and debris. Civilians ran for their lives, clutching their pets and loved ones, but for many there was no escape from the chaos. The toad hopped through the city center, crushing vehicles under its massive webbed feet, treating the urban landscape as its new feeding ground. The local authorities responded with everything they had. Police cruisers formed barricades and SWAT teams unleashed a hail of automatic gunfire, but their weapons were useless. Bullets merely bounced off the creature's thick, mutated hide. As the dust clouds rose and the toad prepared to strike down a defenseless officer, hope seemed to vanish completely. Just as the city braced for total annihilation, a roar echoed off the remaining buildings, a sound primal enough to freeze the blood. The silverback had followed the trail of destruction. Leaping from the shadows, the gorilla landed between the humans and the monster, a furry bulwark against the green tide. The battle that ensued was a clash of titans that shook the foundations of the earth. The gorilla, fueled by vengeance, tackled the toad, slamming it into a high-rise with the force of a freight train. They brawled in the streets, a chaotic dance of fists and fury. The toad retaliated, spewing a stream of glowing, acidic venom that hissed against the gorilla's fur. But the primate fought through the pain. Grabbing a massive chunk of concrete rebar debris, the gorilla used the city itself as a weapon, smashing it over the toad's head with earth-shattering force. It was a battle of agility and strength against biological horror, and in the end, the gorilla's raw power prevailed. With a final earth-shaking slam, the toad was cast down, its neon glow fading as it lay defeated in the rubble. The silence that followed was heavy, filled only with the settling dust and the distant sirens of emergency vehicles. The threat was neutralized. Doctors and paramedics rushed in to treat the wounded, moving through the ruins of what was once a bustling downtown. But amidst the recovery, all eyes turned to the savior of the city. The gorilla, battered and scarred from the acid and the brawl, stood atop a pile of debris, looking out over the destruction. He did not roar in triumph. He simply breathed, a solemn king surveying a broken kingdom. Understanding that his work was done and that this world of concrete was not his home, the giant primate turned away. He walked slowly toward the water, his massive silhouette framed against the smoke in the setting sun, disappearing into the horizon. He left behind a city saved, a lesson learned about the dangers of meddling with nature, and the legend of the beast who fought for those who could not fight for themselves.